listening to CinemaJaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from Chicago. My name is Matt K, and with me is...
Rye the Movie Guy, and sitting right to my left is KP.
Hello.
This week on Matt, we dust off the old VHS tapes and find some recordings of a previous CinemaJaw in which we covered our top 3 favorite found footage movies.
I like that. When's the last time you listened to like a 10-year-old episode?
We literally just did when I put Cynthia Erivo on.
Right, because we had
We
Cynthia
literally
Erivo.
just did.
We just did that, yeah.
Yes, but I don't do it too often. I cringe a lot when I hear some
Same.
of our older stuff, especially when we're doing it in the back room of Mother's.
Although some of it's really good, and I want to be that guy again.
Yeah.
You know?
Been doing it a long time.
It's a long time.
We are doing found footage movies because we actually have some guests that are going to be joining us.
We do, yeah. Joe Pickett and Nick Prueher are here from the Found Footage Festival.
Yes.
Which is on tour now.
Celebrating their 20th anniversary. Can't wait to talk to these guys. They are going to be in Chicago, up in Wisconsin. I think the tour runs, I was looking at their website today. I think the tour runs all the way through January. We'll talk to them about the tour dates and where they're going to be and where people can find them because the live shows are great, you know?
Yeah.
Besides that, we have a review of the new Jude Law movie called The Order.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How about that? Nothing like a new Jude Law movie.
Yeah, he's been, hit and miss, I thought, of late. But I think this is a hit. So I want to give the JawHeads proper due on The Order. Plus, it's a new month. We celebrated Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. It was great celebrating him in November.
And who'd you pick next, Rye?
We turned the page, and there is a movie, I already saw it, called The Brutalist, which is going to come out, and it is most definitely going to earn Adrian Brody his second Oscar nomination. And so, in honor of The Brutalist, we are celebrating Adrian Brody the month of December, Matt.
I wanted Goldblum.
I told you
it's okay. No, I'm just teasing.
We will get Goldblum again.
We'll get to Goldblum. Let's give Brody his due.
Are you a fan of Adrian Brody?
Certain roles, sure. Yeah, he can be boring, right? Like you said with Jude Law, I think he's a little hit and miss for me.
Yes, I do love when he appears like in a Wes Anderson movie. He's great, and he has his moments. He definitely shines, and he's excellent in The Brutalist. I'll say that. Let's kick it off with an Adrian Brody fact.
Yeah, I'm glad Ryan brought up that this will be, The Brutalist is likely to be the second Oscar win for Adrian Brody, because that's our fact this week is about the first one, all the way back in 2003. Adrian Brody won Oscar for Best Lead Actor, and when he did that, he was the youngest person ever to win that award. 29 years old in 343 days. That is important. He still actually holds this record, and it's important because he replaced Richard Dreyfuss as youngest lead actor, who was 30 years old at the time when he won for Goodbye Girl in 1978. Wow. So those last few moments of your 20s, it really, post 30, it's making me feel horrible about myself, but I guess I've felt that way ever since I turned 30, so...
Adrian Brody, only lead actor under the age of 30 to win the Oscar. It's crazy.
Baffling.
I read an article. I have not seen the movie yet. I'll see it in a couple of days. That Timothée Chalamet is supposed to be excellent in this.
When is he not?
Complete unknown, where he plays Bob Dylan. And somebody had already done the math. He actually would beat the youngest age by something like a couple of months. He's also 29, but he's a little bit younger if he goes on to win it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before infants are winning Oscars.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. Keeps getting younger.
It does.
And we keep getting older.
That's how it works.
I don't like it. All right, let's get this show rolling because I'm excited to welcome our next two guests. They're joining us via Zoom. Without further ado, we bring in Joe Pickett and Nick Prueher, the founders of the Found Footage Film Festival. Nick, Joe, welcome to CinemaJaw.
Hi, good to be here.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So the audience can put a name to the voice if you'll say your name so that they know what voice is talking a name.
Yeah. This is Joe Pickett.
And I'm Nick Prueher, the spiritual leader of the Found Footage Festival.
I'm the CEO, though, so I call the shots, but he just calls the spiritual shots.
Fair enough.
That's important.
It is. So I was doing a little research on the Found Footage Film Festival, and you guys started this kind of as a joke amongst your friends, correct? Doing this like in college, and it really obviously blossomed into something that you're doing 20 years later. Take us back to how this all got started with the found footage and finding these weird videos on VHS.
Yeah, I think people who might be tuning in, seeing found footage in the title of the podcast, it might be confusing because when we started this, found footage was not a genre of movie. It was
Sure.
just we were literally finding footage of VHS tapes at thrift stores in high school, and at the time, I was working at a McDonald's and I found a training video in the break room for McDonald's custodians, and it was so ridiculous that I knew it could not stay there, right? And I stole it. I took it in my backpack, and so this was even pre-college. Joe and I have known each other since sixth grade, but this was like 1991. I took it in my backpack, and we had a little viewing party with friends, like you were saying. Sort of just that's what we did in our small town and outside of Madison, Wisconsin. Is we'd find videos at thrift stores or break rooms or workplaces and watch them in parents' basements and develop a running commentary of jokes and things. That was our hobby.
Yeah, and then we took it out on the road in 2004. We were working on a documentary. We ran out of money for it. And so we're like, you know what? We've been collecting these videos for so long. We're editors by trade. Why don't we just make a 90-minute show? And we rented out a place in the East Village. And we're like, let's see if people come. Actually, people came. And we took all the money that we made from that show and we put it into the documentary. Then we got offers to play other shows with these clips, and then it just kind of took off. We finished the documentary, and then we embarked on the Found Footage Festival from there.
Because you mentioned the name might give people different expectations what found footage is. What is a show like? Like when somebody takes their seat, what do they see on stage and on the screen?
So we have 13,000 VHS tapes in our collection, and it grows every single day. So when we go out on the road, it's a tour. It's a guided tour through our latest, greatest finds. So it's more stuff like industrial training videos, like the McDonald's train video, or like exercise videos. We have a whole shelf of exercise videos. They were shitting out exercise videos at a furious pace in the 80s and 90s. We have all of them. Public access stuff, home movies. Beard trimmer instructional videos. That's the kind of stuff that we dabble in, not necessarily movies. We will play movies here and there, but we're mostly special interest. We're in the special interest category.
Right. And so while these films are playing, do you guys mock them, or do you just set it up and let them speak for themselves?
We play about, 18 different montages. We'll do montages that are 3 or 4 minutes long of the latest, greatest exercise videos that we found. Last year, Nick put together a montage of all exercise videos that ended with size. We called it the size montage because they made aeroba size. They made breather size. They made blesser size.
Yeah, there was sex. There was, I think, 3 different videos called sexercises. The sort of erotic
Only 3
videos.
I think I've seen those. Yeah.
3 that we have. Yeah.
Right. There's probably that was a whole genre into itself. And then we actually hire a private detective sometimes and go track down the people in these videos we're curious about. And that's part of the show too. We show the updates on people. Where are they now? What are they doing? And you're seeing videos you can't see anywhere else except on a big screen with a bunch of weirdos. So
one show we did in Chicago. Are you guys familiar with Rent a Friend at all? He's a local Chicago guy.
No.
Okay. His name's Ben Hollis, and he made this video in I think '87. It was for people who were lonely who had a VCR. And you'd pop this tape in, and this guy, Ben, who called himself Sam, would be your virtual friend for 45 minutes, and he would ask you questions, then he would leave a pause, and then you could answer it. And it was batshit, but brilliant and fascinating and amazing that anybody actually made this. And we tracked him down. We brought him up on stage at a show at the Music Box, and we got to ask him all our burning questions.
He became our real friend. We didn't have to rent him after that. So it worked out.
That's awesome. Now that sounds like gold. Like you find a tape like that, that's four jaws, as we call it on the show, right? But you guys got to climb through tons of videos to get to the good stuff. I mean, how long does that take you guys to get to the meat, the stuff that's really going to get people laughing?
I don't know. It usually takes us, 2 years to put together a show? We do a show on Tuesday nights called VCR Party. on YouTube, and it's like it's like the minor leagues. So we'll like play some of the stuff that we're like, oh, maybe this will work. Like like a what do I have here? Like a belly dancing instructional video, or like and we'll see like, oh, let's see how people respond to that. And then if it makes the cut, then we put it into the big show, the big touring show.
That's insane. I mean, I'm gonna steal your question, KP, unless you want to ask it. All right. The thing that's on everyone's mind, I'm sure, is what's the strangest thing you found out there? Now, instruction videos and training videos aside, what's the oddest thing you ever come across?
Oh boy, I mean, there's a lot. Let's see.
I think one of the weirdest ones is we got this in the mail because people know we collect footage, and so our address is public. People send us things. We get boxes in the mail. Like I got 2 boxes today, just from people all around the world, and this one though didn't have a return address. It was just in an unmarked envelope.
Creepy.
Not labeled. And it turned out to be an excerpt from an Oakland, California public access show from the 90s called Something's Happening. And they had a guest on the show. It was a talk show. They had a guest named Arthur Bloom, who was an older man, who was describing that he was convinced that the mucus in your own mouth was toxic and was killing people. And so his solution to that was to remove it by putting grape juice into a spray bottle, spraying it into your mouth so that it makes a viscous purple foam, which he then spits out to remove the toxins.
And then he takes a blowtorch and then blowtorches it all. And it's just talking about it doesn't do it any justice. You have to see it because it's all handheld camcorder. It's dirty. This guy's wearing like a tank top that's stained, and it's
stained with the grape juice. That's one of the things that can happen when trying to. He calls it removing death from the mouth.
That's
and you
bizarre.
Just sit there. But then by the end, I think the part that's most disturbing is by the end you're like, maybe he's onto something.
Yeah, maybe I should try that.
And we've actually both tried spraying the grape juice just to see what would happen. And I don't know. I think we're healthier for it.
We're still alive. So
Yep.
the weirdest one that I ever found, I was at an estate sale in Queens, New York, and there was a camcorder for sale, and it was $5, and I had to have it, so I bought it, brought it back, and plugged it in, and out popped a tape that they were, whoever owned it before was still recording stuff.
Yeah.
And it was this, like, again, a very old man dressed up as Phantom of the Opera, I think. He's playing Phantom of the Opera music, and he's doing this creepy dance that looks like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. He's kind of doing that same dance.
Staring right at you, into the camera lens while doing this.
And then
hopefully wearing pants.
Barely.
A dress.
Yeah. And then suddenly it cuts to this construction scene, and they're knocking down a garage, and the construction worker gets into a fight with the guy who's running the camera. He's like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you taping this?" The guy's like, "I can tape whatever I want." And there's just screaming match. It's bizarre. It's just, I don't even know. Again, I'm talking about it doesn't know justice. You got to see it.
So, a question more or less on the same line as Matt just asked. I watched the show. It was on Netflix called Archive 88. I don't know if you're familiar.
I'm not.
This came out last year, and the premise, this power couple, this guy hires this young kid to go through these old videotapes that they have to try to uncover a mystery. And the idea while you were watching these is that it's very creepy to watch somebody's old home videos. So my question to you guys, did you ever come across one that actually just scared you in a creepy way from finding a weird video?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, just like yeah. I mean, not that I wanted to call the police, but I don't know, Nick. Is there anything like there's some stuff?
During the lockdown, we couldn't do our normal like thrift store searching for VHS tapes, so we discovered that if you type in the letters IMG and then any 4 random digits into YouTube, you find all these sometimes 0 views clips from people's phones. That's the format that most iPhones save in is IMG and then 0209 or whatever the random digits are. So we just started like typing in those digits and finding, I guess found footage, but from a more modern era. And those are some of the creepiest ones. Like we found a guy wearing like a dolphin outfit and kind of doing a flipper thing. We found a. What are some of the creepier IMGs, Joe?
Oh, I mean, we did a show called America's Funniest IMGs. It's on YouTube. You can watch the full collection there. But yeah, some of those. It's not only like the contents of it. It's always, but it's the way that it's filmed a lot of the times. You know, it just kind of feels. I don't know. There's just like handheld, poorly framed. Just the textures, the backgrounds. I mean,
But
you can almost smell the video.
Yeah, and it's like that video that we got in the mail that was unmarked. The mystery of why didn't they even bother to title the video? Like, they clearly didn't want many people to see this. It was kind of either accidentally uploaded or uploaded for themselves. So when you see a guy in a pig mask slapping his belly and laughing with a deep voice, without even titling the video, and you're the only viewer.
I did not mean to upload that one.
It's up to 14 views now, so...
All right.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
So,
it was great.
Yeah, Ryan69 was the account. So it must have been you.
So you guys are on tour for the 20th anniversary of Found Footage Film Festival, and I know it's playing here again at the Music Box on December 11th, correct?
Yeah.
And then you guys are in Madison, Wisconsin, December 13th, and then I saw you guys have dates, right, all the way through January.
Yeah, we're taking this. This is our 20th anniversary show. So this is This is all the greatest stuff from 20 years of collecting into one show, and we're just playing our favorite venues along the way. Like Music Box is like a top 5 for us. So yeah, and we have a lot of updates of people that we've met over the last 20 years. We mentioned Rent a Friend. We show that clip in there. But we also met Jack Rebney, the angriest RV salesman. Are you familiar with Jack Rebney?
I've heard of this one, actually.
I'm not.
Yeah, no, it was a promotional video for Winnebago RVs, and he was the spokesperson, and the crew realized that he had a horrible temper, and they recorded everything. And so I got the outtakes like in 1999 and put together my own edit. That was one of our first big clips, but we tracked down Jack Rebney, and we have the whole story of meeting this legend.
They made a documentary about him that we're in called Winnebago Man. So some folks may have seen that, but the origin was from this raw footage we got from a camera assistant in Minneapolis.
That's awesome.
I'm going to watch this documentary.
I can't wait.
Now I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yep. I'm getting out to the Music Box on December 11th. I'll tell you that.
Do it.
Yeah, for sure. JawHeads, if you're in the area or you want to find out more tour dates, get tickets, more information, go to foundfootagefest.com for all the information. You guys did mention that you guys made a documentary, and I did want to plug the documentary that you made because it was about a country singer, correct?
Yeah, Dirty Country. Yeah, we Nick and I, like he said, we've known each other since we were 10 years old, and we've always just collected dumb, weird things that we find. And I think we were like 18 or so. We were on a road trip, and we stumbled across this cassette tape at a truck stop for this guy named Larry Pierce, and he writes and performs filthy country songs, like raunchy country songs. We got obsessed with him. Turns out he made like a dozen albums. You could only get them at truck stops. I wrote him a letter, and I was like, hey, we'd love to follow you around with a camera, or we'd love to shoot a music video for you. And he's like, my life isn't that interesting. I work third shift in a factory, married with kids, and I write these dirty songs on my lunch breaks. And we're like, oh man, I love this story.
That's gold.
That's a bingo.
We both quit our jobs at the time. We called it our suicide pact, and we just grabbed a DVX 100 and followed him around for 4.5 years. So it's called Dirty Country. It's we tracked down some other living legends of dirty music.
John Valby.
John Valby's in it.
Yeah.
Doug Clark and the Hot Nuts, and Blowfly, and
And what we discovered was that Larry was the tip of the iceberg. Like, there was party records, that were handed under the table, and
Sure.
and even like as far as like coming over on they're dirty sea shanties that were handed down through an oral tradition, and so like dirty music is like part of American music history that nobody talks about. So we tried to document it and tell one guy's story.
It's awesome.
Wow. I got to watch this one.
Is that available to stream anywhere?
it's on Tubi. Yep.
Okay.
It's on our website as well. You can download it that way.
Nice.
I mean, that's exactly how I came across John Valby, was like a tape my older brother was like, don't tell mom I let you listen to this, you know?
That's how it's always passed.
That's how we heard it too. Yeah, like
yeah.
A friend's dad had it, and they wouldn't let him listen to it, but we snuck it. You know, that kind
It's
of thing.
older brothers and friends' dads.
Exactly. Yep.
They show you the movie The Warriors, and then they turn you on to some dirty music.
Yep.
That's what older brothers are for.
Hey.
Do a lot of growing up. Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. You heard at the top of the show, we're celebrating Adrian Brody this month. I want to ask you guys, do you have a favorite Adrian Brody movie? We'll start with you, Joe.
I mean, he's somebody I really don't think about that often. I only associate him with Wes Anderson movies. And I always like him in Wes Anderson movies. But here's the thing. I got a deep cut Adrian Brody appearance for you. You know those game commercials from the 80s where they're like playing Connect 4 and then they say, I win at the end?
Yeah.
He was in a commercial called Ready, Set, Spaghetti. And it's definitely him. And like this is like his first. So I'm going to go ahead and say Ready, Set, Spaghetti commercial from like 1989.
All right. No promises, but if I can find that on YouTube, I'll throw it in the show notes.
Do it.
That is cool.
You'll find it.
Nice.
You'll find it.
Nick, how about you?
Well, Joe took mine, but this might be a weird one. But Splice. Did you guys see Splice?
Yeah, sure.
Vincenzo Natali, body horror movie.
Yep.
I thought he was pretty good in that. I liked him.
That's a good pick.
And a whole month of Adrian Brody. Wow. That's,
Well, see, we only record weekly, so
Yes.
it's 4
Yeah, yeah.
episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 4 episodes. Still. All right.
I have a weird Adrian. I met Adrian Brody last year. Yeah, it was at the premiere of Asteroid City, and it was I was doing something for Alamo Drafthouse here in New York, so they had a premiere, and that was like a huge star-studded cast, and I somehow ended up talking to Jason Schwartzman, Adrian Brody, and I think his name's Rupert Friend.
Yeah.
The British handsome guy from the movie, and he was telling a story about being in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series as an alien, and how all the sweat pools on the top of your prosthetic, and you have to like empty it out at the end. It was very entertaining.
Gross.
And then Jeffrey Wright walked by as we were laughing about that and goes, "Keep it down." And I couldn't tell, Jeffrey Wright's kind of a serious guy, and I couldn't tell if he was so straight-faced, I couldn't tell if he was being serious, but everybody piped down immediately. Like he had that authority where as soon as he walked to the room, it was like the principal catching you or something. And
There's no way he was serious. He's just going to yell at people to be quiet?
Yeah, well, I don't
Was it
think
during
he was,
the movie?
No. This was at the bar, and,
okay.
like an after party. But yeah, I don't think he was serious. But still, he has that amount of gravitas that everyone just shut up. Yeah.
Jeffrey's right. We should be quiet.
Yeah, you listen when he says something.
For sure.
Right.
This is awesome. All right, so Nick and Joe are sitting in on this entire Jaw. They have their top 3 found footage movies coming up, and they're going to take you on, Matt, in Jude Law movie trivia.
Should be mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is going to
Bring
be
it
fun.
on.
Before we get there, though, Matt, me and you caught up with The Order.
Time to dive into the shadowy depths of Justin Kurzel's latest, the historical crime thriller, The Order. This one's got Jude Law chasing down Nicholas Hoult in a game of cat and mouse that's as dark as it is intense. But does this film's grim tone and nihilistic worldview make it a gripping masterpiece, or does it leave us feeling weighted down?
Now, in every revolution, someone has to fire the first shot.
Open the safe now! Now! Let's go!
Sheriff Laughlin, Terry Husk. I had a question about some flyers I keep seeing. White power. Is that the Aryan Nation?
You know what my problem is with every fanatic?
You have to have somebody to blame for your life.
You know those pamphlets you saw? It's not all. This was in June. A bomb went off at a synagogue in Boise. That's just the beginning.
Beginning of what?
The Order is a tense true crime thriller with Kurzel's painting a chilling portrait of radical extremism in America. Jude Law plays an FBI agent hunting down a dangerous white supremacist group. And while his performance is as solid as it ever is, his character doesn't quite hit the transformative arc that I was hoping for. His backstory is murky at best, as is his strange health issues that get shown but never satisfyingly explained. It's like watching someone stuck in the same grim gear for 2 hours, which makes it harder to connect with. On the flip side, Nicholas Hoult steals the show as the white supremacist group's charismatic leader, blending charm and menace in a way that's downright haunting. In fact, I found him too charismatic. This is a difficult needle to thread. I seriously doubt the Order was trying to glorify the message of Holt's cult of Nazis, but the ideas our bulletproof ending made me a little uncomfortable, but that's just me. Hey, again, it's true crime, so maybe that's how things went down, and that's fair enough. Also, I gotta say, the clues and beats of this hunter and prey story are a bit murky, as murky as Jude Law's backstory. I never felt like the cops were unraveling things or getting closer by earned discoveries. So there's that. It was very nice to see Wayne, better known as Percival, better known as Ty Sheridan, again. I'm probably the only Ready Player One stan on the panel today, and unabashedly so. I was wondering when this guy would pop up again. He portrays Jamie Bowen, a local deputy who becomes an integral part of the investigation. His character is more or less a sounding board and plot anchor whose third act is so badly telegraphed that I literally shouted "no duh" at the screen. I still couldn't help but enjoy seeing him. Also, Mark Maron pops up as a pivotal character, and I always love seeing Mark Maron, fellow podcaster. I enjoyed the visuals for their gothness, desaturated palette, and oppressive framing. It perfectly matched the tone of the story. But here's the thing. That tone is bleak, with a capital B. The Order doesn't let up, offering no light at the end of the tunnel and no reprieve from its heavy subject matter. While this works to underline the film's themes, it left me depressed, and not in a good cry kind of way. While yes, it's a down kind of film, there are several exciting action scenes. I want to highlight this, Ryan. There are some pretty cool robberies, capers, and police procedural stuff to almost give this a heist movie sub-vibe, if that's a thing. And that's what saved it for me. In the end, The Order is a film that thrives on atmosphere and the strength of its cast, especially Nicholas Holt's chilling performance, and I just like Ty Sheridan. While Jude Law's character lacks a satisfying arc and the film's bleak tone may be heavy, Kurzel crafts a world that feels both hauntingly real and unnervingly relevant today. It's one of those movies that will send you down the Wikipedia rabbit hole afterwards, so if you like true crime, FBI procedurals, you could certainly do worse.
Yeah, chalk me up as a big fan of The Order, actually. I think I'm going to end up liking this one more than you. It grabbed me right from the opening scene. And that opening scene sees three men driving in a car. It's at dusk, and they go out into the woods. And these three men, this is not a spoiler because it's not that important to the plot, but these three men go out there, and two of the men kill one of the other ones and bury him out in the woods. I was right in from that point in. I was like, oh my God, what's going on with this movie? It just had a realism that I liked, the grittiness that you sort of alluded to, that I was like, all right, I'm in. Had no idea where this was going as far as getting to neo-Nazis. So I was, intrigued. And the atmosphere in general, I thought it was... a lot of times when you're watching movies that take place in, say, the early 1980s or late 70s, they feel forced to feel that way. This one really felt like I was watching a movie from the early 1980s era. And that's tough to sometimes explain, but it's like the cars. It was like everything about it.
The cars were cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, yes, right. We used to drive cars that were metal. Remember?
Yeah.
These things were like metal cars.
Yeah.
And they were everywhere. I mean, they did a great job of, because there's a lot of cars in the movie. I always pick up on this sometimes. Like, it's not just one car on the street. There's a scene where there's like, they must have had to go around and get cars from that era. I'm talking 50 cars, around the area. And I was impressed with that. And, Nicholas Hoult, who plays Bob Matthews, did not know this person at all. And like you said,
Me neither, yeah.
went to the Wikipedia to look up Bob Matthews. I thought he was excellent. I do think he probably upstaged Jude Law, but I liked Jude Law. This is his best in years, I would say. I can't even remember the last time that I was like this impressed with a Jude Law performance. So I really liked it. But I will say, and I don't know if you got this, that Nicholas Hoult, the way his hair was done in this movie, he came across like a young Tom Cruise. Did you see it at all?
I know what you're talking about.
It was almost distracting to me. I'm like, my God, does he look like Tom Cruise here? This is like weird. Like Tom Cruise in that era of Far and Away, or, you know, like when he had, you know, he had like a youngness. And and he had that shaggy hair.
Yeah, it's a 70s haircut. Yeah.
Holy crap, did he look like young Tom Cruise? That was wild. But yes, the authentic feel of the movie, I think, is what ultimately won me over. And you're talking about these action sequences.
Those were fun.
Yeah, and there are times we watch these movies and there's a huge shootout in front of the bank, and it doesn't feel like it has a huge meaning behind it. It's like, oh, we're so used to seeing gunplay in movies, but in this movie, you felt the gunshots.
I'll give you that.
Right? I mean, when Jude Law, he's got that shotgun and he's going out after the car, after a bank robbery.
That wasn't Jude Law. That was Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, that was Nicholas Hoult. No, Nicholas Hoult drives by him in the car.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Scene. Yes.
Yes. But in that particular scene, when he comes out and you got Jude Law aiming the gun at one car, and another car comes by with Nicholas Hoult in it, and well, we know it is him, but he's in a ski mask, and they sort of look eye to eye. Like, all of that felt so like real and tense that we don't get in a lot of these movies, procedurals like this.
Yeah. So here's my problem in a nutshell. Besides the overall grimness of it, which was a bit heavy for me, and I like grim. This like the action sequences were really cool, and I liked them a lot. But there was no connective tissue. Like, they make some like half-assed attempts at it. They show like the gang printing money. Obviously, they show that murder that you're talking about right in the beginning. They show some of the other like police procedures, like where they're leaning on somebody who they've captured, things like that. And none of it really like leads to the next thing. Like, what is the mystery? And plus, they play these little title cards with a date and location at the bottom of the screen, which, by the way, I felt were too small and difficult to see. Maybe you had a different experience on your giant TV. I was watching on a laptop, couldn't read it. And I'm like, wait, what was that? Wait, where are they now? That kind of thing. The connective tissue wasn't there.
Okay, I was watching it on my giant TV, and I had no issue with reading it. So probably that's
could be
the problem there. I will say, if anything, it probably is closer to real life because this is based on a true crime. That's all they had to go by. Where if it was Hollywoodized, if it was Hollywoodized, there would have been some type of scene where the guy left his bandana and the bandana matched this. You know how it is.
That's exactly what happens. I mean, it's not a bandana that gets left, but
yeah, but there's material that gets left. But I'm saying, like, the idea of them sort of putting together, why are these people robbing banks, and look what else is going on with this neo-Nazi group over here, and it's the FBI starting to put it together that, like, there's something much bigger at play here than just bank robberies and just counterfeit money. Putting it all together is pretty scary. I mean, what could possibly have happened?
Yeah, and they try to tie a bow on it at the end. I don't know, man. This one, it just didn't connect all those pieces. I like the pieces, they just weren't connected completely.
Understood. I like the grittiness, and I do like the flourishes, and I'm going to give you one here where Mark Maron is being followed. I'm not going to say exactly what happens here, but at one point he's in his car, and
it's a famous murder.
Yeah. And somebody is behind him. And so Mark Maron, here's the flourish that I want to highlight. He pulls up in his car, and they use this shot where the camera must have been mounted on the driver's side door. So it's facing Mark Maron as he's in the car behind the wheel. Then he opens up the car door with the camera more or less attached to the door. So as he opens up the car door, the camera then starts to show like what's behind him, because he swung the door open, and that's when we see somebody standing behind the car. Just well placed, well shot, and well choreographed stuff like that. I think, put the order into a little bit higher echelon than your normal police procedural.
When did Jude Law become Gene Hackman?
He does feel like that in this one. And I will say this. You're saying that they don't explain his medical issues, which they don't, but he does tell the story about how he had the one person undercover, and it went.
What does that connect to? I mean,
because that's why then he was doing those the medication that he was doing, and it was the medication that was then causing him to have these nosebleeds.
Whoa! That's a big leap. You're saying that he explains that the medication is for his mental health?
No, I'm assuming that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not a huge leap. I mean, clearly they.
Sure, it is. Are you a doctor?
No, I'm not a doctor. But Matt, he tells that story.
Right.
For what reason? Because
I'll
it serves no other reason.
Oh, dude, this is exactly one of the things that pissed me off the most. It's foreshadowing. He tells that story. I almost don't want to say. You know, I think I have to really dance around this to not do a spoiler.
I don't see it.
He tells
I
that
know
story
exactly
to
what you're saying.
explain what's about to happen next.
No, I don't see it that way at all.
I mean, dude, yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not foreshadowing, but I looked at it as he's explaining the pain that he's gone through because of this past issue. And that's why we see him sort of like on medication. And throughout the movie, there are times where like you're
He's
getting
an
too
alcoholic.
involved again, so on and so forth. But it's driven from those pains, those experiences that he's had. He's living this kind of rough life. That's the vibe I got. So I didn't need like an explanation on, if he's diabetic or something.
No, I didn't either. But if you're
I
going
don't need his medical records. I don't need them.
If you're going to show something, it needs to be explained. Show us the pill bottle. Like, let us know what he's taking and why. Because all it is like he's got nosebleeds from pills, and we never find out why. It never plays any significant role in the story. So if it's not important, cut it out.
No, because we needed that scene where
he
Jude
bleeds
Law,
on someone.
Wasn't that fantastic? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Wow, did it look cool? Like, this is where I would say the grittiness of the movie. I was like, oh my God,
What
this
if
is
he had
so
just
good.
cut himself shaving?
He's roughhousing a guy behind the bars, just getting a little physical with him when he has a nosebleed and he starts bleeding all over this guy. And I must mention, Jude Law has this like early 80s mustache in this movie.
He's Gene Hackman.
So he's basically has a half red mustache full with blood. His hair is all disheveled. Loved it. Big fan of that look. That
all right,
grittiness.
JawHeads, back me up here. If you see the order, please let me know if anything about Jude Law. I mean, like, obviously, I've seen a lot of stuff in my day. You know, like, we get it. But that does not a character make.
Jaw-dropping moments. What do you got, Matt? There were a couple in this one.
Yeah, so my jaw-dropping moment is a spoiler. But if I had to pick another one, my favorite part is the armored car heist at speed, because there's a couple armored car heists in this movie, but they do one at speed, and those 70s muscle cars are in full display. You know, like, that was a kind of a cool sequence.
It really was.
Yeah.
And I think it's scary when they're on the open road like that. And some of the cinematography in here is
I agree.
quite stunning.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful part of the country in the Pacific Northwest, Idaho, up there, all that area. And yeah, the open road looked great. And the openness and how alone they are is what gives you the willies. You know, it's like, oh my God,
yeah,
these guys are in serious trouble.
He's really good with his zoom. Like when things are tense, you're really close up with the characters and personal. And when then he needs to show the vastness of a scene like that armored car chase, he really pulls back and shows you how big this road is and how there's nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. It's good.
For me, this was the most chilling moment in the movie for my jaw-dropping moment. And this is when the character Bob Matthews, played by Nicholas Hoult, is giving a speech in a church.
Yeah.
And God, was it creepy. And he gives this speech and the whole congregation starts to chant white power. White power. And man, was it, I mean, I had chills on my arms. It just freaked me out.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Movie poster quote.
Oh man, I'm actually kind of proud of this one. Jude brings the grit, Holt brings the chaos. You could call it law and the order.
Not bad, Matt K.
Thanks. What you got?
I went with gripping from start to end. The order should be at the top of your order to see.
Yeah, it is gripping. It definitely is. I'll give it that. How many Jaws are you giving this
So
thing?
I'm very strong on this one. I'm going 3.5 Jaws for the order. I liked it quite a bit. How about you?
Yeah, you're a lot stronger than me, but I'm not crazy. I'm giving this 2.75 Jaws. This is a good movie. It lacks a little something that I can't quite put my finger on.
Sure. I read an article, so for JawHeads that want to check this one out in the theaters, I read an article talking about this actually being a little bit harder to distribute because of the white supremacy and the neo-Nazis. And
right.
They didn't get necessarily, I don't think they got the distributor that they thought they were just going to be able to put this out in theaters all across the country. So an email came to us. It's playing in like 16 theaters in the Chicagoland area. That's pretty good, but that's obviously Wicked's probably in a city this size on hundreds in Chicago.
Thousands,
so
maybe.
Yeah, it's only on 16 screens here in Chicago. So you might have to look for this one, JawHeads. Might not play if you're in a smaller town near you, but write it down and give it a spin, as we're both recommending, me just more than Matt Kay.
Yeah. Good true crime caper movie, and I think Jude Law's performance is definitely one to check out.
Let's all go to the lobby.
As we kick off Adrian Brody month, I know you JawHeads were thinking he's gonna pick a clip from a Wes Anderson movie, but I didn't. I go with his wonderful comedic performance as Salvador Dali in Midnight in Paris. Here he is opposite Owen Wilson, and he can't stop talking about the rhinoceroses.
Monsieur, c'est dommage. C'est dommage. We met earlier tonight at the party. Dali, see?
Yes,
Dali.
I remember.
Dali. Yeah. Une bouteille de vin rouge.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, un autre verre pour monsieur, s'il vous plaît. Love, the language, the French, the waiters. No. You like the shape of the rhinoceros?
The rhinoceros? I haven't really thought about it.
I paint the rhinoceros. I paint you. See, your sad eyes and big lips melting over the hot sand with one tear. Yes, and in your tear, another face. The Christ face. Yes, and the rhinoceros.
Yeah, I mean, I probably do look sad. I'm in a very perplexing situation.
Sparkling drinks, it all colored dandy, 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 dandy.
All right, JawHeads, hope you liked that clip. And I think, Ryan, it's about time to open up the fish tank, even though we didn't toss anything in there.
We didn't toss one thing in there. This might be a first.
Yeah, well, we got smart people on the show this week.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I think KP deserves a little moment to come out and shine.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
Fishy! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, there's some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hello, thank you so much. Honestly, what I think it is, I'm going to pull back the curtain here a little bit. I guess we've announced this. We haven't seen each other in person in like, what, a month?
Well,
So I think
me
you're
and
going easy
Ryan
on
did,
me.
but yeah, for all three of us, it's been,
Right.
quite a minute.
Has been. Everybody's Thanksgiving was good. We're back. So.
Yeah.
Not dead.
Now we're getting excited to recap the year. We're getting it at
Oh, yeah,
time.
I'm glad you mentioned
about
that.
that.
We got to talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, we do. So we didn't throw anything into the fish tank. Matt, do you have a question for KP?
What is the strangest thing that you ever caught on camera? Since we're doing found footage.
Well, I don't want to. I'm gonna do that. I'll regale this. I don't know if it counts as caught on camera. It does count.
No sex tapes. No sex tapes.
No, but I do have something very close. One time in 2019 for the 2020 calendar year, I did gift one of my friends a nude calendar as a joke for a white elephant.
Of yourself?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Full frontal.
Wow. So that's out there. That exists.
That is out there. That exists. It was for a white elephant party. And it went... The person
hilarious.
who was blessed to get this calendar was actually a partner of one of my friends. They've since broken up, and I have to imagine somewhere on this human's wall is still me in the buff. That's
good
probably
stuff
the
right
weirdest
there.
thing.
Wow.
That's probably the weirdest thing.
That fits in this episode, I
So,
think.
I mean, yeah, it totally fits because like I was saying, in 25, 50 years, somebody's going to find this and it's going to be part of a collection, KP. You know?
I could not be happier. I could not be happier about that.
You will live forever.
Good stuff. Well, we're still in the fish tank. We will, next week, let's just say this, Jawheads. We're going to have a meeting once we get done recording when we're starting our recap. We might squeeze in one more Jaw before the recap, or next week might be our top 10. We have to discuss this.
Yeah, you'll have to find out, Jawheads.
Yes, but we got some good movie reviews coming out, including A Complete Unknown, as I mentioned, Timothy Chalamet playing Bob Dylan, and a host of other movies coming out here. We still got Nosferatu to review. So, good stuff. A lot of good stuff. I think that's everything, though. Jump back in that fish tank.
You bet.
All right, I guess that makes it time for our top 3 found footage movies.
Yes, and again, to clarify, yes, we were having fun with found footage like Nick and Joe do, but we're talking for the top 3 actual found footage movies.
Well, now
different
it's
than what they're finding in truck
right.
stops.
But this is a genre. These aren't actually found footage. They're made in the style of found footage.
But I think the Jawheads know what we're talking about.
Although
we set one rule, though. Nobody picked the Blair Witch Project because I think we all agree that's sort of the granddaddy of them all. It wasn't the first, but it is the one that most popularized the idea of what found footage is.
I think we can agree it's the most obvious.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we left that one off of our top 3. But Nick, Joe, did you guys have trouble coming up with 3, or was this rather easy for you guys?
Yes, I did. I gotta say, I'm not a horror guy at all.
Right.
Also, I want to ask, like, when did the term found footage become a term? Because we called ourselves that in 2004, and Blair Witch had already come out at that
99.
point.
Yeah.
99. Yeah.
I don't think they were calling it found footage
Until
right off the bat.
Until Paranormal Activity, I think.
Maybe Paranormal Activity, and I think The Ring had a little something to do with that because of the tape in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then like Rec and VHS, which I'm spoiling a bunch, could be on anyone's list.
Sure.
Well, here's the thing. I broke some rules with my list in that I don't know the genre that well.
It doesn't have to be horror.
No, exactly. Well, so I picked documentaries that used found footage.
That's fair.
So, okay, I won't get kicked off the podcast.
No.
Okay.
Well, why don't you kick us off? What do you got sitting at number 3, Joe?
Number 3 is a movie called Alone in the Wilderness. Have you seen this before?
No.
I feel like the only place you can see it is on PBS during their fundraising drives. I don't know if they still do it, but I think that they have the exclusive rights on this movie. And it's this guy from Iowa. He went up to Alaska. I think he had retired. He's this older guy. He goes up to Alaska and he builds a house from scratch out in the middle of nowhere. He has to fly in here and make a log cabin. He's so skilled. He makes his own little locks for it. The whole time he's doing this, he's setting up I think it's like a CP16 16 millimeter camera that you wind, and he's filming the entire thing. So not only is he building a house, but he's documenting it on film, which of course is like way more fickle than like video. So he's changing he has so much footage. Somebody took all his footage and all of his diary entries and matched them together and showed the whole cabin being built. It's fascinating. And I have the DVD, and I think you have to order it through some weird place in Colorado, but it's not streaming anywhere. It's just my favorite thing to watch in the winter on a Sunday morning when it's cold out. I love watching people work on screen.
It sounds relaxing, almost meditative in a way, right?
It is. And this guy is just like, they have this another old timer like doing the voiceover, and it's just so relaxing and hypnotic. And you're watching this guy chop wood and whittle locks so that bears can't get in. And oh man, It's just brilliant. So
that sounds
Alone in the
awesome.
Wilderness. Yeah.
Nice. Kicks us off with a nice one. I like this. Nick, how do you follow that up?
I'll go with the more traditional one, and that is Wreck, the Spanish movie that you mentioned earlier. This is the one that, like, even more than Blair Witch, kind of freaked me out. And whenever this movie is mentioned on podcast, I should say it's not WRECK. It's REC, like the recording button that would be on a camcorder that you would see in your viewfinder. And yeah, the idea is a documentary film crew is riding along as firefighters are containing a virus that's spread in an apartment building. And it kind of has that claustrophobic, feel to it. And it's, the reason these movies are so effective is it feels intimate, it feels homemade. And then when the jump scares happen, like when demons show up, it really scares the hell out of you. So I thought Wreck was really effective, even more so than Blair Witch for me.
I agree, actually. I love Wreck. It was on my list. I have honorable mentions, so I'll sub another one in. Gets another found footage movie mention.
2 votes for Wreck.
But I will say, the other thing that I think these found footage movies need to do is it plausible that it would be a found footage? Like, why are they recording? And does it make sense for the skiers to come into the camera? And that's where I think Wreck is head and shoulders above everything else, because they were going in there as a camera crew to record this when all these skiers happened. It seems the most plausible out of many of these, right?
Yeah, I think to me it seemed like this was... and also I think having it be a Spanish movie too adds a little more... I don't know. I guess for some reason that made it feel a little more like it... I don't know. I don't know why that made a difference, but to me that it made it seem more like, oh yeah, this is footage that was found by the Spanish documentary crew. We wouldn't have heard about it. It just seemed more real.
It adds a layer. It removes it from Hollywood at least one step, so it feels less. There's more verisimilitude or something.
And of course, Hollywood had to remake it English style, and they made Quarantine, which I've never seen.
It's okay.
I've never seen
either.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
I saw Wreck, and I love Wreck, and that's all I needed.
Quarantine's okay.
Blah. Jawheads, check out Wreck. That's a good
pick.
pick.
No, I agree.
What do you got, Matt?
All right, I'm going also with horror, 2008. This is one of the movies I saw while researching another topic for CinemaJaw. I only do this every so often, where I come across something that is just so fascinating, I like start to watch it, and then I can't stop. This is a slow burn, and if you're into found footage, especially like in the horror genre, I think you'll like this. It's an Australian movie from 2008, and it has to do with a family who's dealing with the death of their daughter, and their surviving teenage son begins to experience all these paranormal things. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'll say that at one point it comes to light that he was faking some of the things with a camera, and then they actually find a tape that the daughter left behind. So found footage, it's the style of the film is found footage from her cell phone and video cameras. There's stuff that she was doing with the neighbors that I don't want to spoil, and that comes to light. It's a mystery that unfolds with this supernatural element, and I will say at the end there's a creepy ass twist that kind of just left me unsettled.
And
man.
what's the name of this
said
again?
what it is.
I know. What's the title?
No, I did. Lake Mungo.
You did not say that. I would have remembered the words Lake Mungo.
I was going to say, did you even mention it?
Lake Mungo. Very strange title, but I guess it's a lake in Australia. So there you go.
Ryan, let me ask you this: when you watched that, did you know anything about it? Like, had you seen trailers or anything, or did you just jump in and just watch it without knowing anything about it?
That was Matt, by the way.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I didn't know anything other than I came across it through doing research. I can't even remember what topic. Obviously we do top 5 lists on CinemaJaw like almost every week. So. Man, I don't remember what the hell I was researching, but I saw this and I read the description. I was like, that's fascinating. I turned it on just wanting to watch like the first 5 minutes to get an idea of what the movie was like, and it hooked me.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I just
See,
sat at my desk at work and I watched it.
I just feel like that's the best way to watch movies right now is just not watch the trailer, to not know anything about it and just watch it. Like it makes me like movies way more. Just not, having no expectations whatsoever.
True.
Yeah.
So I switch things up. I don't go horror with my number 3 pick. I go with a superhero film, Matt. And
I
there
know where
was
you're going.
a found footage superhero movie. Came out in 2012, and I'm recommending this one. It's entitled Chronicle. And it tells the story of 3 friends, Andrew, his cousin Matt, and their friend Steve, who get telekinetic powers. And one of them is taping all of this. And for the first probably 45 minutes of the movie is the joy of 3 friends having telekinetic powers and having this, filming weird stuff that they can now do, being, with superpowers. And then, of course, the friend Andrew, who was being bullied in the movie, ends up being a villain, and he starts to slowly turn to the dark side, and we get the whole superhero versus a villain in found footage style movie going on with these 3 kids. It's done extremely well. In the movie is that Dane DeHaan. Michael B. Jordan is also in it. That was really, I think, the first time I had known who Michael B. Jordan was. I know he was on the TV show The Wire, but I really got to know him in Chronicle and knew, like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be something. So if you haven't seen it, I do recommend Chronicle.
Nice.
You guys see Chronicle by chance?
I haven't, no, but I wrote it down while you're saying it.
I liked it too, and it is like anytime there's a superhero origin story, the funnest part is discovering what the powers are, and it even felt more real, the fact that it was all these teenagers, and in fact that it was shot in a found footage style.
It worked.
I gotta watch this one. I'm a big superhero fan.
Yeah,
so.
you'll like it. It's a good one. Into our 2s we go. Joe, what do you got?
Okay, I'm going with a short. This is a short. It's using all found footage. It's called Balloon Fest. Have you guys seen Balloon Fest?
No.
Okay, so look it up on YouTube once we're done, because it's like, I think it's maybe 8 minutes long, and it's brilliant. So this guy, the filmmaker Nathan Truesdell, he got all this footage from Ohio local news stations about this big disastrous. They were trying to break the record in Cleveland for the most balloons launched ever, and they had millions of balloons, and it was just pollution. It was so bad. And he found extra footage. I don't want to spoil it, but I will, I guess. It's he finds this extra footage of 2 guys went out fishing and their boat capsized, and the Coast Guard was out looking for them, but they couldn't find them because the balloons were all over the lake. So like 2 people died because of this thing. All the balloons ended up in Canada, and it's one of these stories that you never heard of, but the whole story is told using found footage. There's no narrator, there's no voiceover. It's just using this footage, and it tells this great story just with local news footage.
I think I've heard the story.
So have I.
Yeah.
It's so weird. As you were talking about it, Joe, I have not seen the movie, but I have heard the story of this problem with the balloons. Like the wind blew or something the wrong way. They weren't thinking that they were going to like blow into the city. Or I know I read the news article or something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the kicker was that I think they did break the record, but the Guinness Book of World Records didn't recognize it. I guess too many people died for it. So
yeah.
Terrible. What do you got sitting there, Nick, at number 2?
This might be a weird one, but I'm going to go with Trash Humpers, the Harmony Korine movie. Joe,
okay.
We saw this in the theater, remember?
Yes, that's right. I think about that movie all the time.
Yeah, and it just got a release. It just got like a Blu-ray release. It had been unavailable apart from VHS, I think, or DVD for a while. But it's all shot on VHS camcorders, and it's a bunch of elderly people. I mean, they're younger actors in old people masks, and they go around humping trash cans in depressing parts of Nashville and torturing baby dolls and doing puppet shows and meeting interesting characters. Like most Harmony Korine movies, there's no plot to it, but the visuals are interesting, and it's a movie I have not forgotten.
I love Harmony Korine.
I do too. And Trash Humpers is always my go-to for like a joke movie. Like if it's like, oh, we'll just have a quiet night in, probably toss on Trash Humpers and drink some wine. That's always my go-to, and I'm trying to get my wife to watch it. I'm like, can we please watch Trash Humpers? And she's like, no, we're not watching Trash Humpers tonight. It's the funniest title.
The phone would come out immediately, I have a feling. But,
100%. Yeah.
I love it. Good stuff. I have not seen Trash Humpers.
Me neither. That's actually a blind spot.
I know. I'm going to have tons of things to watch tonight for sure. What do you got sitting
I saw a guy wearing a Trash Humpers T-shirt a couple weeks ago, and I had to approach him. I said, where did you get that Trash Humpers T-shirt? And he said that he made it himself. So,
that's the correct answer. If he had said like Amazon or something.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you got?
That swings it to me. All right. I'm trying to stay away from horror now since I made my one horror pick. This one's sort of borderline. I think it's more mystery thriller. 2018's Searching. I don't know if this is exactly found footage because the whole movie takes place on laptop screens and phones and security cameras. But I think it kind of sort of brings the spirit of found footage because of all these cameras that are always pointed at us. Like, who knows, in 25, 50 years from now, people could be scraping the internet and pull up videos like this and make a show about them. You never know. There's a missing person in this movie, and like I said, it's sort of a mystery that unfolds. There was a sequel sort of done in the same style, or a spiritual sequel. I liked it. It's a different kind of mystery.
Yeah, I like them. I like the Searching movie and whatever the other one is called. What is it?
Finding, I want to say. Something
Missing.
like that.
I think it's Missing.
Don't
it's Missing
know.
And it's Searching, I think. Yeah, I like those. And I'll give you, they fit into this category, what we're looking for.
Thank
you. My number 2 is borderline, almost not in this category, but when you think about it, the first at least 45 minutes is definitely found footage. I'm going with 2009 sci-fi film directed by Neil Blomkamp, District 9.
I saw this pop up when I was doing research, and I'm like, that is not found footage.
Yeah, when you think about it, Vicus is going in to show the news people how the aliens are living. The idea is that this alien ship and these sick aliens are hovering over Johannesburg, South Africa, and he goes in there and he's trying to interview and talk and show the lives of the aliens when he ends up opening up one of these capsules that sprays him right in the face. And I watched it. I was watching some clips and I saw this particular scene, and it's definitely done in the found footage style where the guy's watching him go through the camps, and then when that stuff sprays him in the face, he's like, stop recording. So it does give you the vibe of found footage for a good 45 minutes of this movie.
Huh. Yeah. I got to rewatch that. That's a great movie anyway.
It is. It's a fun one.
Yeah.
What happened to Neil Blomkamp, though? I just feel like after District 9, there was Chappie and Elysium, I think, but nothing has been up to District 9. I wish it was.
He was just in Monkey Man.
No.
No, that was Charlton Copley.
Yeah. Neil Blomkamp is the director.
Yeah.
But did he do The Creator, or am I off on that?
I don't think he directed The Creator.
Yeah, I could be off
like
on
a
that.
movie he'd do.
I could be off on it. Throw it in the fish tank, KP. But I might be off on that. But yeah, you're right. He was handed the keys to Hollywood after District 9, and yeah, he sort of fumbled his way through, I think.
Did he do Elysium?
He did.
Cool
That's,
yeah, Elysium was his. Yeah.
I liked Elysium, but I'm in the minority.
Cool ideas. Yeah, I don't know that it was executed that well, but yeah, I keep hoping he'll return to form.
Yep. All right, that brings us to our number 1 found footage movies. Joe, what do you have ahead of Trash Humpers? I'm dying to know.
I'm going to get a little shameless here because it's actually a movie that we produced. So my favorite movie in the world is American Movie.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's my number 1 favorite. There will never be anything that tops that for me. And I lived in Milwaukee for a little while. And a friend of a friend knew Mark Borchardt, the subject of American Movie, and told me that he had been sitting on all this footage that he over the last 10 years, he had been going up to this UFO festival up in northern Wisconsin and recording people at the UFO convention, basically drunk people who are dressed up with tinfoil hats on their head and stuff. But he was just sitting on all this footage and he didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, oh, toss some money into that. We don't have a lot, but we'll offer whatever we can. So we came on as producers, and we found an editor for him and put it together. And it's interesting because it's Mark Borchardt this time behind the camera, shooting a documentary about other weirdos, basically. And it's fascinating. And it's kind of, I like to call him like Wisconsin's Werner Herzog, because he kind of has this flowery dialogue. He's doing the voiceover along with the visuals, and I would listen to him read the phone book. So Dundee Project, available at foundfootagefest.com.
Wow.
Dundee Project.
Plug.
Okay.
Great plug.
Sounds like a good one for sure. I'm a sucker for like clicking on these clickbait, whatever it is, like top 10 blah, blah, blah movies of, the past 20 years. Somehow I just came across earlier today, American Movie, and on some list. And I was like, God, I can't believe I've only seen the movie one time. I've only watched it just once. And I always say to myself, I got to see it again. It's a masterpiece.
It's the most quotable movie on the planet. I quote it daily, and I don't even know I'm quoting it at this point. I watch it every year around Thanksgiving. I think it's the best Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, they re-released it at the New Beverly in Hollywood with Hands on a Hard Body as a double feature, which I thought was great, like 90s documentaries. And at Nighthawk here in New York, I got to see it on 35 again for the first time since... Joe, you and I saw it when it came out in '99, and yeah, it just keeps getting better. It's great to see it on a big screen again too.
And you guys being from Wisconsin, it's even more special.
100%. Like these are like everybody in that movie is like somebody I went to high school with. So that's really why it speaks to me, because I know these people. But I also like Mark Borchardt's, like, he has no resources whatsoever, but he's so driven to make this horror movie, and that spoke to me too. Limited resources, lots of ambition.
What was the name of the horror movie? Coven.
Yeah.
Right.
Coven sounds like oven. So
so good. All right, Nick, what do you got sitting at number one?
Late Night with the Devil.
Great
That's a good pick.
This might be recency bias, but this blew me away last year. It reminded me of like a feature-length Tales from the Crypt episode, because it kind of has like this delicious twist to it, and it's all told, as like this is footage from a late-night talk show called Night Owls, and David Dastmalchian is the host, and it all took place in an episode in 1977 on Halloween. So that's a perfect setup. Like, we're just going to show you footage from this late night appearance that, went horribly wrong. And he has on, guests that are possessed, and a psychic comes on, and he's very dismissive of it. But, of course, he's trying to do what Carson did to Uri Geller and sort of debunk the psychic. But... things go awry, and you're seeing it from, the cameras, the raw footage from this episode in 1977 that never aired.
It's an awesome movie.
Yeah, it is.
Good one. That's a great pick right there. I wasn't even thinking of that in this category as found footage, but it definitely fits for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, the whole thing is a documentary crew is trying to piece what happened using the old footage. So, if you haven't seen it, it's recent, but it's super cool movie.
It definitely. It's streaming out on Hulu now, so definitely check it out. JawHeads. I love it.
Can I just plug one more thing?
Please.
We are going to have what's his name? David. What's his name?
Dastmalchian.
Yeah, he's going to be on our show on a VCR party in a couple weeks.
Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
He's pretty cool, man. That's a good get for sure.
Yeah.
He
does a talk show where they're in a coffin. He and the guest are both in coffins talking to each other while lying and looking straight up. It's a great, interesting dude. Comic book writer and great actor.
Yeah, so he worked for a long time in Chicago, and that movie, Late Night with the Devil, had one of its premieres at the Chicago International Film Fest, like the midnight screenings, and he was at the Music Box talking about how he would go to the Music Box all the time and see movies. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yep. Cool dude.
Yep. Matt, you're number one.
All right, so this is another one that's called a documentary, but the way I came across this film was at the Fireside Bowl. Have you ever been there?
on Diversity?
Yes, it's an old punk rock.
Right.
A lot of punk and ska shows there in the 90s. Yeah.
That's why I was there. I was there for a punk show. This was the early aughts, like 2001 or 2, something like that. And right on the bowling alley, some guy set up a screen and showed us Heavy Metal Parking Lot. And he had some like G.G. Allen outtakes from like his talk show appearances and stuff. But Heavy Metal Parking Lot is the basically an interview of a bunch of kids that are about to see Judas Priest and Dokken in 1986. And they are in New Jersey, and they are exactly the kind of people you might imagine as stereotypical people going to see Dokken and Judas Priest in New Jersey in 1986. And I mean, the stuff that comes out of these people's mouth is hilarious and sad too. And it's funny because, you know, like obviously Rob Halford, there's a bunch of homophobic slurs that they use, and then jokes on them because Rob Halford is now like the poster child for being okay to be gay in heavy metal. It's fascinating. It's what was cool about it is how out of context it seemed, even in like 2001, going back to the 80s. And it definitely fits with this found footage because it's just like, where did this come from? You know, it's just like a Jersey. It's probably wherever the Devils or whatever the Jersey hockey team is plays.
It's actually Maryland. It's
Is it
actually
Maryland?
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, Capital Center in Maryland.
I thought you guys would know this pick.
Oh, this should have been on my list, too. This is an excellent pick. Yeah, Jeff Krulik was the director of that. He worked at a public access station, and he took the public access, he and John Hine took their public access gear and went down. It's just a brilliant, simple idea, and got real reactions of people. And this is back when like people were excited to be on camera, or like if they saw a camera, it was like, "Oh, hi, Mom!" You know, they're so excited to be on. So people are more than willing to come over and talk to the camera. It's
talk
a
about
classic.
this might be as quotable. It's it's only a 15-minute movie, but
It's
it
real
might be
short.
Might be as quotable as American movie. There's a woman who's like, I think one of the filmmakers, John or Jeff, says, what would you do to Rob Halford if he was here? She goes, I'd jump his bones. Good luck trying to jump Rob's bones, lady.
Yeah.
We actually we've become friends with Jeff Krulik over the years, and we toured with Heavy Metal Parking Lot, and he gave us more footage of stuff. He worked at public access for a long time, so he recorded a lot of stuff, and we put together a montage of some of his stuff. But he also gave us one called Heavy Metal Picnic, which like a friend of his stole gear from CBS, from a CBS affiliate, and went to this heavy metal festival
Outdoor
for a weekend.
festival, yeah.
And the whole time he's interviewing people, it's with a CBS microphone. And they're just shirtless, and they're drunk, and they're slurring their words. And I'll send you that one, too. I think you'd appreciate that if you like Heavy Metal Parking Lot.
I did. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I watched it. You brought this up many moons ago, early days of Jaw. I remember you bringing this up, and I hadn't seen it. And I went home that night, and I watched it and had a blast with Heavy Metal Parking Lot. So
it's a trip.
That's awesome. Good pick. My number one, believe it or not, was technically Wreck. So Nick took my number one with his number three pick. Right
Sorry
out the door.
about that.
I will replace it with a movie I watched this past Halloween. I was looking for some new movies, and this was a Shudder original that I came across called Deadstream. And it came out in 2022, and the idea is that there is basically like a YouTuber guy that is going to go to this notorious haunted house, and he sets up all these cameras inside the house.
Yeah, I saw. So this was good?
It's actually very, I mean, I wouldn't want to say very good, but it's very enjoyable around Halloween time because it's kind of campy, part campy, and then actually does turn
pretty scary.
Yeah, genuine jump scares in there. But for the most part, you got people commenting, like while he's setting up the camera, people are commenting, watching the live stream.
You see the chat feed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot of the times, too, because you're like, what an idiot, this guy. And the comments are saying the same exact thing you would be saying as you're watching as a viewer. So, like, you're in on the joke a little bit that the guy's way too over the top. He's very flamboyant, and you're like, this guy's just a jackass. And all the viewers of his stream think the same exact thing. And then, again, slowly it turns into like a pretty good story of what was going on in that haunted house, why it's haunted, and you get a couple of scares. It's an enjoyable film for knowing what it is. Like, it's a small budget film that really feels more expansive than it actually was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to give it a spin because I kind of stayed away from it. It looked a little too hokey.
Yeah. Honorable mentions here before we go. The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan. That was sort of his comeback.
Yeah.
That was found footage because they were videotaping their visit to visit their grandparents who they had never met, and it turns out there was a twist.
There was a twist.
Not a reveal, but a twist. Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was also going to be on my list. Any's for you?
I got one. Troll Hunters.
Yes.
That
was my honorable mention. Yeah.
I actually really love Troll Hunters. I don't know why, but
it's so cool.
Even though it sort of abandons the whole found footage conceit, like about halfway or the 2/3 mark, it's still amazing. I love it.
I have not seen it. That's a blind spot for me. And one other blind spot that I wrote down is the movie Creep with...
By Radiohead?
No, this is the movie Creep. What's his name is in it? Drawing a blank. Part of like the Duplass brothers team, early days. And they made a sequel. And from my understanding, there's now going to be a series on one of the streamers. Based
it's
on
out
this.
now.
Oh, it is?
I somebody just recommended that. Yeah. I wanted to recommend, have you seen VHS Beyond, the new VHS movie?
I haven't seen the new one. But go ahead.
There's one segment in it that those are always a mixed bag because they're anthology movies that are found VHS recordings. But there's one segment that I'd never seen done in a found footage movie, which is it's a home movie of people going skydiving. So they're in the plane and they're actually in a plane.
No.
They're all getting their parachutes out. And things go wrong midair, and then they land, and things go even more wrong. And it's all done through like the GoPros that are on the helmets, And I thought that was a cool premise.
That is a cool premise.
Sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet either.
That's good. Jawheads, if we missed your favorite found footage movie and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet. We're at CinemaJaw, or our email, feedback@cinemajaw.com. Let's end this podcast with some Jude Law movie trivia. Who doesn't love Jude Law? Come on.
I have yet to meet the man.
I am a Jude Law expert, so you are going to, and I'm not. I'm not even close. Not even close.
All right. Well, you are our guests, Nick and Joe, so you get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals. If the person doesn't know it, you get a crack at their question, and vice versa. And I will say they start off easy.
Let's go first.
Let's go first, yeah.
Yeah, let's receive.
Question number 1. Jude Law starred in the movie AI as Gigolo Joe. Which child actor played David in the movie?
Haley Joel Osment.
That is correct. Nick and Joe on the board, 1-0.
Yes. I knew that one.
Question 2, Matt. Jude Law made one movie with Tom Hanks. It was a gangster flick.
Oh, yeah. Road to Perdition?
Correct. All right, we got the easy ones out of the way. Everybody's 1-1.
Okay.
Back over to Nick and Joe. Question 3. In 1999, Jude Law starred in The Talented Mr. Ripley. Name 2 other actors in the movie.
Matt Damon.
Kate Blanchett?
Yes, we will take Kate Blanchett.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I remember her.
What a cast. You had Jude Law, Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Kate Blanchett, all in one flick.
Wow.
Now, does Matt usually win these?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Oh, really? Okay.
Loses the majority, but I don't want to put the pressure on you guys. Don't want to put the pressure.
Okay. Oh,
all right.
Question 4, back over to Matt. Jude Law made one movie with Angelina Jolie.
This is where it goes off the rails, Joe.
Okay.
It was filmed all in front of a green screen. Name the movie.
I actually know this one. It's Sky Captain and the Land of Tomorrow. The World of Tomorrow.
Okay, we'll give it to you. Yeah. World of Tomorrow, yes. Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. I haven't seen that since it more or less came out. But
yeah, same here. I've seen it. It's a pile.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
I remember enjoying it at the time.
Well, I think you might have been a teenage boy enjoying Angelina Jolie.
I remember Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't remember her in that.
Yeah. Angelina Jolie has an eye patch in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you probably didn't recognize her.
Yeah, that's
she was in
perfect
disguise.
Yep.
It's 2-2. Everybody's perfect so far. Back over to Nick and Joe. Jude Law appears in one film with Leonardo DiCaprio. It was directed by Martin Scorsese. So it's one of the DiCaprio Scorsese movies. Name it.
Oh.
Would it be come on.
Is it the one about Hughes?
Howard Hughes. Yeah. What was it called? The something.
Aviator?
The Aviator.
That is correct. The Aviator. Jude Law played Errol Flynn in the movie.
I would not have gotten that one.
3-2. Matt, you got to keep up here. Question 6. Jude Law made a holiday movie with Jack Black and Cameron Diaz. Name it.
Wow. I can't even think of a Jack Black holiday movie. Wait, Jack Black's got a holiday movie that's out right now. It's not that one, is it?
No, this is older.
I was told that's actually worth watching. Surprisingly worth watching.
Really?
Well, listen, that's what I was told. I haven't verified yet.
Jude Law, Jack Black, Cameron Diaz.
Bad Santa? I mean...
Incorrect. Nick, Joe, you got a chance for a steal here.
I'm looking in your direction, Nick.
We watched this in a hotel on tour. It was on, and it was so bad. Jack Black was in a blockbuster trying to impress Kate Winslet, and he was like, "You ever seen this flick?" And it was something about roommates who are swapping. She's in the English person's in America. A Christmas Wish. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it.
We're looking for The Holiday. The Holiday.
What a shitty title.
Unbelievable.
Come on.
Terrible.
No wonder I couldn't remember it.
Right. Try a little
generic.
harder. Yeah.
Come on.
Still 3-2. Nick and Joe, they got the lead. Question 7 is over to them. Jude Law starred in 2 Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr., but who directed those movies?
Oh, is it Guy Ritchie? It seems like a Guy Ritchie thing, doesn't it?
It does. Let's say Guy Ritchie.
That is correct.
Yes.
Ooh, nice. Good call.
They got a win under their belt because this is the last question of the game. Over to you, Matt.
Okay.
In 2000,
a safe face anyway.
Yeah. In 2004, Jude Law starred in a remake of a 1966 Michael Caine movie. Both Michael Caine and Jude Law played the title character, which is also the name of the movie.
Okay. I'm pretty sure. Wait. I always get this mixed up with the comedic movie, because one of them's like Arthur and one of them's Alfie, right? The Arthur one, I think, is the comedic one, and Alfie is the one with Michael Caine. I forget. I think it was Dudley Moore in Arthur. Alfie.
Alfie is correct.
Oh, I liked hearing you work that out. I knew Arthur was wrong, but I didn't know the answer.
I could hear the gears turning on.
Sure.
The grinding, yeah.
Nick and Joe do win this one 4-3.
Woo!
Virtual handshake.
Yeah, virtual handshake, guys.
Yes.
Hey, 2 against 1, not a fair fight. But
if it came,
I was hoping for an Existenz question, but hey,
it's a good flick.
That's a good pull. Yeah.
I really like that movie.
If it came down to a tie, we call it a jawbreaker here. This question would have been over to Joe. Age of Michael Caine.
Oh, I like that question.
Current age?
Current age. It's closest to, actually. Closest to.
It's going to be older than you think. I think it's going to be like 84.
Lock him in at 84. Matt, what would you say?
Wow. I honestly think he might even be older than that. Michael Caine is an ancient man.
Yeah.
He's always been an old man, hasn't he?
Right?
Like,
yeah.
Even since the 60s, he's been an old man.
Yeah. He was even old in Alfie. I'm going to say he's probably 92.
We'd give that one to Matt. He's 91. 91 years old for Michael Caine.
I didn't heed my own advice.
Yeah. When I wrote the question, I thought, I hate when putting it at that age, because maybe he passes before we do the edit and put it out.
Oh,
and then
shut up, man.
It's bad karma.
He's an international treasure.
He is.
May he live forever.
This has been great stuff. Brings us to the end of the podcast. First and foremost, we got to thank Nick and Joe, Found Footage Fest, taking place all over the country. If you're in Chicago, right when this drops, you still have time to get out. December 11th, out at the Music Box Theater.
Do it.
Good chance me and KP get out there and enjoy some found footage movies. So
Yes, it'd be great to meet you guys in person.
yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks guys for coming on.
Can I one more plug?
You bet.
So me and Scott Miller from Strange Tape Zine, we're going to start doing a monthly show at the Music Box, and I believe it's January 20th will be our debut one. It's called Strange and Found. And he's a big VHS collector, and we're big VHS collectors, and now I live in Chicago. So I'm going to bring on some of my favorite VHS finds from the collection. He's going to bring on some of his, and it's going to be a 90-minute show. I believe it's January 20th, but it's in the Music Box calendar. So
Sure.
Look it up.
For
Strange and Found.
For the 20th anniversary, how long is the show?
It's a 90-minute show.
90-minute? Perfect.
Yep. That's the other bad thing about our titles, that we have festival in there. You know, it's a 90-minute program. Found Footage Festival. It's a terrible name.
We're not good at marketing ourselves,
No.
but somehow we've subsisted for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thanks again.
Yeah,
Nick.
thanks, guys.
Thanks again, Joe. Also want to thank our producer, our editor, KP.
Oh, of course. Happy to help. I did look it up while we were talking about it. Gareth Edwards directed
Edwards
the creator.
did the creator. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Interesting.
I knew it was a big name.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Matt, we want to thank our Patreons. Thank you for supporting the show.
Yeah. Hey, go to patreon.com/CinemaJaw, join in, and there's a ton of bonuses and all kinds of extras, and we thank you for being awesome.
Yes, thanks to all the other JawHeads. If you want to leave us a review or a star rating, that helps attract new listeners. Do it there. That would be great. Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and keep on jawing about the movies.